Hi, everyone, and welcome back to Brian's Horror Corner, and welcome to this horror movie pack review as part of my November series. So I was hoping to get this video up about a week ago, before I was out of town for about 5 days for work. But unfortunately, I didn't get a chance to watch all the movies, and then I didn't have access to watch them or to make videos. So here we are a week later than I wanted to be. But I'm still going to try to get a few more of these horror movie packs in as far as reviews go before the end of November here. But today we're going to take a look at a three horror movie pack. This is one that I think I showed in my intro video that I was gonna start with. Um, we got the Legacy, we got the Sentinel, and we got whatever have you. But it's just one DVD that all three of these movies are on. It's just kind of a random standard DVD horror three pack, um, three horror movie pack. I'm trying to say. So yeah, what I can say about this horror movie pack is one of these movies I thought was really good, and I was really into it, and I'm looking at getting it on a single individual release. One of the movies I thought was pretty good. It was okay. I would definitely watch it again. Might get it on an individual release. And then the other movie was just kind of meh, kind of hard to get through, and definitely on the B horror movie level. So I'm just going to start with that one and kind of work my way up from my least favorite of these three to my favorite and kind of give you the synopsis and my thoughts on each of them as we go. So, my least favorite, or the one I had the hardest time getting through, probably not surprisingly to many, is S. And this movie was from 1973. This one's actually rated PG. These two are R, but this one is PG here. And this is basically about David, who's a college student that's looking for a job. He's hired by a professor named Dr. Stoner as a lab assistant for his research and experiments on snakes. However, the good doctor secretly brewed up a serum that can transform any man into a king cobra snake, and he plans to use it on David. So it's a pretty simple premise. This movie's all about snakes, basically, and trying to turn a human into a snake. Yeah, this movie was kind of hard to get through. The first half of it's really slow paced, really slow moving without a lot of horror involved. It does kind of open up with a bit of an intrigue to it, where we have some kind of creature that's in a cage as two men are making a deal with each other. One is giving another money for the supposed creature, whatever it is in the cage. So that has a little bit of intrigue, and then we get into the opening credits. They also make a point before that to let you know that they used real snakes in this movie, which was kind of interesting in 1973. Um, and I have to say, it does look like real snakes. That's one thing I can say about this movie is for 1972, 73, I thought the practical effects, the makeup effects were pretty good for the most part, especially for more of a B level horror movie. That was probably one of the better things about this particular movie. Um, but yeah, it takes a long time to get going, and then it's just it's just kind of a one trick pony, if you will. There's not really much there from a horror standpoint. I mean, it's if you're somebody that hates snakes and are terrified of snakes, it might have a little bit more of an impact on you. I'm kind of indifferent about snakes. I mean, I don't go out of my way to see them or to touch them or anything, but at the same time, I'm not they're not the thing that terrifies me beyond any other. I think I'm more bothered by rats or rodents like that than I am snakes, to be honest with you. But yeah, I don't know. The movie just tries to do a few too many things. At one point, it tries to be like a bit of a slasher using snakes as a weapon, and that it's a mad scientist kind of a Frankenstein kind of thing idea involved. They just got all these different ideas, and none of them really cohorts very well. If that's a word, I'm not sure it is. But and the ending was kind of weird. It ends abruptly, and there's a few there's a few tense moments, but one of the main characters is just kind of killed by a creature out of nowhere that we really aren't familiar with for most of the movie. I don't know, man. This is the movie that I don't necessarily. I'm definitely not interested in going out and getting it on a single release if one even exists for it. If I happen to keep this collection, I'll have it. but it's probably one of those movies that I watch another 5 or 6 years or something. So that's S or S from 1973, my third favorite of these three. Then I would say number two would have to be The Legacy. Now, this movie caught my attention because it has one of my favorite actors in it, Sam Elliott, a very young Sam Elliott at that. This movie was made in 1978, um, and it has Catherine Ross and Sam Elliott, who those two probably are the best part of this movie. So basically, it's basically how far would you go to inherit everlasting life? That's the tagline. When an American couple has a mysterious car accident in the English countryside, the other driver offers to take them to a lavish country estate to make amends. But once there, the suspense deepens and the couple's fear turns to terror. So yeah, that's the premise for The Legacy. This is the one that I thought was pretty good. I could, if I came across it on a single release, I might consider getting it for not a lot of money. Otherwise, I'm fine. If I end up keeping this, I'm fine just having it on here. But I thought Sam Elliott and Catherine Ross were very good as the leads. They were a believable couple. They had good chemistry together. I thought the movie's it has an interesting premise. I really like the setting and the sort of the English countryside with this big house, this big mansion, if you will. I'm a sucker for things like that. Not necessarily like a haunted mansion or a haunted house in this movie, but there is some shenanigans going on upstairs. Let's leave it at that. And there's other people that stumble upon this house, and it has a lot of intrigue to it. And there's one scene I really enjoy where these two are trying to get away when they realize there's some bad things happening there. And they kind of are in this big loop where they can't get away from the house no matter where they drive to. They just keep coming back to it. I kind of enjoyed that, a little bit of a Groundhog Day thing there, bit of a time loop. And yeah, I thought it was an enjoyable movie. Like I said, Sam Elliott and Catherine Ross are the best things about the movie. And it does have it has an interesting ending, which I wouldn't say is terrifying, but it's definitely kind of not a happy ending. It's kind of an acceptance ending. I don't know how you would describe it, but it's definitely got some creepy moments to it. Um, it's got some creepy parts, some good effects to it. So, yeah, I mean, I would recommend The Legacy from 1978. I think they do a pretty good job, but there's some problems with it. It's a little bit over the top, and there's some plot contrivances that don't really work, especially as you watch the whole movie. But I liked it. I liked the atmosphere and the setting. And then finally, the third movie, which I am very interested in finding on an individual single release, is of course, the third one, which is The Sentinel. This is from 1977 with Chris Sarandon. It also has Christina Rains, Martin Balsam, John Carradine. This movie has a lot of actors, old school actors that or actresses that hadn't found their niche yet before they became big. It's really a big bowl of all kinds of actors and actresses, all mixed together in this movie. Now, I'd heard of the Sentinel before. I knew it was a movie from the '70s, but I'd never seen it. Really didn't know much about it because you don't really hear much about it. But yeah, I was really intrigued by this movie. Again, it has a pretty simple premise, which is a beautiful model rents an apartment in gloomy New York brownstone. Little does she realize the unspeakable horrors that await her behind its mysterious doors. So yeah, this one has a lot. I think of the three of them, it's definitely the one that has the best plot and the best like unfolding story, if you will, that works for me. There's this blind and deaf like Catholic priest that lives upstairs and just stares out his window all the time of this brownstone that she checks into. There's just a lot of interesting characters, a lot of over the top characters. Um, Chris Sarandon is definitely really good in this movie. Burgess Meredith also in this movie. I thought he really stole the show as he often does. Those two really stand apart from everybody else, but everybody's fine. Christopher Walken and Jeff Goldblum are even in this movie, as is Beverly D'Angelo from the Griswold movies, as well as Jerry Orbach, also who I'm a big fan of. So the cast alone gave me enough intrigue in this movie. And then when I actually watched the story, I was into it, man. As it was unfolding, I didn't know what the hell was going on, and It has really good makeup effects, practical effects. I thought there was some good effects overall once things are revealed in the third act, and yeah, I really liked the Sentinel. I really did. I was kind of blown away by it. And this is another one that has an ending that's kind of, again, it's not a happy ending. It's kind of a sad ending, kind of a tragic ending, but at the same time, it's a little bit of a good ending for everybody outside of this New York area. The way that things turn out, it basically has to do. The moral of it is stepping up and taking, kind of stepping up and taking a role to protect others, if you will. And yeah, I really like the Sentinel. I'm going to try to find it on Blu-ray or an individual DVD release for sure. That was definitely my favorite of these three. So anyway, that'll do it for my review. Go ahead and comment down below if you guys have seen any of these three, one of these three, two of these three, all of these three. What your thoughts are on each of them or any of them. I'd be curious to hear. Um, Please like this video and hit the little notification bell down below so you don't miss any of my upcoming reviews for this horror movie pack series that I'm currently in the month of November here. I promise to get out at least two more before the end of the month. Um, but yeah, I hope you enjoyed this review. I would, like I said, I would definitely recommend these two movies, at least watching them. This one, it's kind of up to you. If you have a thing about snakes, maybe you might enjoy it. This one's definitely more of the B horror movie, and it's PG as well. Where these two are a little bit more mainstream rated R, even though they're even mainstream. They're not like well known horror movies. They're still kind of cult movies. But anyway, those are my thoughts on this particular horror movie pack from the early to late '70s. These three movies that span the decade. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you're all doing well here for the month of November, getting into the holiday season, and stay scared. Bye.